That's right. All right, so you've seen us talk about our wood. You've seen us talk about our pits. This is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about our meat selection, how we choose our meat, what we use, what we do to rub it, moisturize it, how we smoke it, and then what we do afterwards to get to the table. First and foremost, I think the most important thing is we use a great quality meat. Just like you use a great quality wood, we use that sweet pig bottom hickory. We're choosing a good quality piece of meat as well. So we want to go bone in. Why bone in? For us, it's all about flavor. Bone in just provides that extra little bit. The boneless breast can actually tend to dry out a little bit. You get a lot more flavor with the bone. It keeps a lot of the moisture as well. We choose to go with the Boston butt here. The Boston butt is actually from the shoulder of the animal. It is a cut of meat that provides a great yield for barbecue for us. A lot of good marbling, a lot of good fat, and it allows it just to render out nicely in the cooking process. We choose to keep the skin on and the fat on. We want to get that nice crispy, crusty texture on the outside. Here in the South, we call it bark. We love to have that on our butts because it mixes in beautifully with the meat. And then we're going to trim this up a little bit to our specifications. We'll go over trimming meat in one of the next segments. But for us, we choose a good quality meat. We use a Duroc breed pig. A Duroc breed is one of the oldest American domestic breeds. And we like our pigs that we know of to be taken up to about 220 to anywhere to 300 pounds before they're slaughtered. We like a certain diet that our pigs that we want to eat. So there's a lot of selection that goes into meat. We just don't go buy something out of the refrigerator section at the grocery store. We really want to take into consideration the diet, how much exercise, what the pig's been doing before it's been taken and processed. So Cole's over here making a rub for us, and we'll go over what that is. And that really comes to step 2 of the process for us. Our rub, everybody's got their own. Every barbecue guy's got a rub that they use. If it works for you, let it do that. But for us at Sauceman's, we use a paprika base. I think paprika gives a great smoke flavor. It takes on smoke really well. So that's the base of our rub. And we use about 6 parts paprika, so about 1 part of everything else. Now we do take, if we use 6 cups of paprika, we'll use 2 cups of black pepper and then 1 cup moving forward. But we use 6 cups of paprika as the base of our rub. And then we'll move on. We use black pepper, we use salt, we use sugar, we use onion powder, garlic powder, dry mustard. We use a lot of spices. Now I'm going to leave a few out just because that was what makes it unique to Sauceman's. But for the most part, it's a paprika base. Now, Cole actually has gotten that on here, and I'm going to let Cole show you how we rub that on. Something else to think about, a lot of guys on the competition circuit, now a lot of guys in the restaurant don't do this, but use a mustard base as a moisturizer for the meat. The mustard goes on to the meat prior to rubbing it with the spices, and it provides not only extra moisture, but it lets the rub stick to that meat a little bit better. The mustard loses its flavor while it smokes, so even if you're the world's biggest hater of mustard, this will lose its flavor, and you won't be able to taste the mustard, but it really performs nicely, allows a great bark to form on the outside of that of the hog, whether you're doing a whole hog or a shoulder or a butt, but it gives you a nice good crust and a good bark. Actually what I'll do is I don't use this here at the restaurant. We do when we do competition smoking, but for the restaurant we don't. It's a little too labor intensive, and we produce a great product without it. So I'm going to leave the mustard out for the purposes of this demo, and I'll go ahead and let Cole rub that pork butt down. Cole's got our rub already made, and he'll show you how we do that. Now, when we say rub the meat, we don't actually mean that you have to rub it per se, but it's a good liberal sprinkling of that meat. He's going to cover that entire fat cap. He's going to get that nice. Now, you see the way that color changed immediately. That rub, let me borrow this for just 1 second. It's got a nice red flavor to it, so it's going to have a nice red color to it. And that's that paprika that's really coming through, and it's going to give it a great smoke. So he's rubbed the fat cap. He's going to give a liberal rub on the other side as well. He's going to get all nooks and crannies. You want everything to get that seasoning. And that's also going to form that bark on the outside. It's going to give you that crust. So when you chop it up at the end, you're getting all that good flavor mixed in with that good meat that's got all that fat. and gelatin that's broken down the cooking process on the inside. So he's going to cover that real good, nice liberal covering, and then that's going to go in the smoker. And we usually we'll put about, I don't know, 14 or 15 in a day to do. Now on Mondays and Tuesdays we'll do about 8 to 10. Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays we'll do about 14, 12 to 14, depending on what business has been like that week. So you know, as we continue to grow as a restaurant, we'll do more and more and more. But for right now, we'll do about 14 of those a night. Since today's Friday, we'll do that. So after that's done, Cole's going to load that up on the speed rack. We're going to put that in the walk-in. We're going to put that in the refrigerator, let that get nice and cold. What that's going to do is it's going to allow that meat to seize up a little bit. It's already been in the walk-in, so it's going to go back in, sit there. Now, before we smoke that meat, before we put it in the smoker, we're going to take the meat out. We're going to take the meat out. We're going to let it come to room temperature about an hour outside of the walk-in. It's going to get nice and loose. Some of that tissue and everything that's inside there is going to get broken down a little bit prior to going into the smoker. You don't want to put a cold piece of meat right on heat. It's almost like shocking it. So you want to let it get out. Just like a good wine, you want to let it breathe a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. That'll also just let that thing sweat, which will provide a little bit more moisture, which will give it a great bark as well. So everything that we do is, number one, it's about texture, but it's about getting a good bark on the outside too, because your bark's your flavor when we're talking about that. So that's what it looks like after it's rubbed. You can see he's got a good color all the way around. And he's going to go ahead and throw that in the walk-in. We'll take that out, and then we'll show you what we do after it comes out of the smoker.